I always say, do the best you can. And that's stayed with me all my life. And I've enjoyed doing that way. So I'm never satisfied until I get it right. My name is Mary Jean Bonar. I'm glad to be here with you. I have always lived in the same little town in West Virginia. Always loved my grandmother, my grandfather, my parents. I was an only child, so we were very close with each other, being the only child in the house. So I was pampered a little bit, but they say that I wasn't spoiled, and I don't think I was. I think I just enjoyed life and they enjoyed me. Well, I was a good child at pretending because I was alone. As time went on, I started pretending by writing things down too. Because of the kind of life I led, it was a quiet life with older people, that it was the thing to do. And I wrote letters for my grandmother who wanted to be in touch with some of her children. She asked me, would you write a letter to so-and-so? And I would. So I've always been easy for me to write. It's really a wonderful story. My children were grown, and my husband and I were living in this house that I'm in now. And my husband had gone away for the weekend to go on a golf trip with his friends. So like every morning I went outside and was taking my morning walk. Beautiful day in June. And the flowers were blooming and it was just so wonderful. And I was just in the best of mood, but I'm always in a good mood. But I was in the best of mood. And I was just walking along, just enjoying the beauty of the day. And I heard something, and that something was, someone was speaking to me, go write your book. Well, can you imagine what I thought? I turned around and looked, and there was a soul on the street, on the sidewalk, and I thought, what's this? And I thought, I don't know. I said, what? Now, what can you think, who could say what to the air? But believe it or not, I got the same thing. Go write your book. Well, I finally realized that it was the Holy Spirit speaking to me. And I always knew I was going to write a book, but I didn't know what about. But for years, I knew that the day would come, then when I would sit down and write a book. I didn't even know what I would write about. But then I turned around and I was shaking really all over. Slowly walked back to the house. But at first I said, okay. So I walked back to the house and I came in the door, and then my husband wasn't even there. I couldn't even tell anybody. I was so excited and my heart was beating so fast. So I went into the room where I have my computer and I sat down and I looked around and I thought, well, what do I write about? So that's what I said. What will I write about? There was no answer to me. And I was just absolutely just trying so hard to get an answer. And oh my, I know that the Lord wants me to start writing in my book, and so I will. So I put my hands on the keyboard and I started writing about the beautiful day, and it just came through my fingers and through my mind and through my whole being what I would say. And from then on I was on my own because He never spoke to me again. I was on my own, but I knew that He was with me all the way. There's a woman whose name is Janine. She's much like me. I didn't know what I was writing about, but I found out as I was going that I was writing about a woman that I knew very well. And that woman turned out to be sort of me. And the things that she had done in her life and how things turned out, the adventures she had. One time in her life, the children wanted to get a person to come in to live in the summer from another country, and she did. In the book, a French girl came to spend the summer. That was very exciting for the children and for all of us. adventures of the children are in there, the births of children too. It's just a whole story about everything that a lifetime does in any natural life, and how they've dealt with it. Did they do the things right, or did they have trouble, or was it difficult? No, they found the way. They always found the way that everything seemed to work out well. It's really a book of joy. It's pleasant. The things happen that's difficult. The mister loses his job, though. I mean, and things aren't always running smoothly. But it's life itself, and how to deal with it and how to just make it work for you. Mind you, I didn't even know what I was going to write about, and ended up with 3 books of the same subject. First of all, I wrote a book of about 700 pages, and the producer said, "You got to stop." So I did. So I had to write another one later to make it finished, because it really wasn't finished in my mind. But I didn't have any trouble writing that. The book is it's a book about faith. I have a lot of faith. It's the most important thing in my life, is my faith and my trust in the Lord, and my husband as well, and my family finally began to just see that too. It's just wonderful. But the book is about faith, and it's about the joy of Christian living. And if that life is easier, it is much easier if you have the Lord with you, and you trust in Him and you follow His directions. And it's also joyful. I think my whole life is joyful. I don't have bitterness. I don't have bad feelings ever about things. Isn't that just wonderful? It's a joyful living, and mostly I think it's just because I trust in the Lord. So that's what the book sort of feels like. When Janine goes to this new church, it's an old-fashioned church with old ladies, lots of old ladies, and ladies generally outlived their husbands, so most of them were widows. And they had their own homes. Everyone went to their own home. If they went to church, they eventually went back to their own home alone for another week. So the joy of their life was to get to church. Well, that's what they had. And when I joined that church, I saw that. And I suppose the Lord pointed it out to me. I don't know. But I went to their room one day, their Sunday school room, and I said, "Can't we do something together that would be nice in the middle of the week?" And they said, "What?" I don't know, but I said, "I think we could get together maybe like on a Wednesday or something, and we could do something together. We'd figure it out." You know, they did. They came with me, and we met. Eventually, they started a band, a kitchen band. Every instrument had to come from the kitchen, and every instrument had to be genuinely a usable thing that they would use in the kitchen. And I can't tell you how they took off with that. This is true. This is not with the story. This is true. Those women did form a band. And the band somebody found out about the band. They wanted to hear the band. And we were getting 3 calls a week for people to come to bring the kitchen band and entertain. Well, this story does tell about that, but the whole thing is that life doesn't have to end at the age of 70, 75. One was 93 years old. It doesn't have to end. Now, I was much younger then. So I thought that was just the coolest thing in the world, that these old ladies were getting up, dressing up, and playing in this band, and everybody thought they were just the greatest entertainment in the world. It's a true story. I don't even think my producer knows that it's a true story, but I'm telling him now that was a true story, that I actually did have a kitchen band. And it was, Lord gave it to me, told me to go in that room and get them out of their houses and do something. And they were never so happy in their entire life. So that was a great, great thing that happened there. I wasn't challenged. It came so easy. It's just almost pitiful that I could just sit there and say, well, that was good. That was good. And I would write something and I'd say, oh my, where did that come from? But I had the help of the Lord all the way. And I can't take the credit for it, actually. But I will take part credit for it. But really, it was easy. I was challenged, but it was the joy. It actually was the joy of my life. The whole time that I could sit down, write that book, was the joy of my life. And I think you'll feel it when you read the book.